What's a myth about sleep that we've got going on that yes, athletic,
Yeah.
body blueprint debunks?
I don't think there's been that I know of a lot of myths. But I think we just we don't put enough intention into our sleep,
Okay.
especially in my age group. I'm 49. So if you're like me, we grew up with this saying, sleep when you're dead,
Okay.
right? So if you want to be a hard worker, if you want to be respected, like that was kind of how I was raised. Like you sleep when you're dead.
All right. So the myth is rest at quote unquote rest at the end, which sometimes the end means when you're dead, right?
Yeah. If you want to be productive and stuff,
Yeah.
but that's not true. And they've done a bunch of research on this, and they show that if you restrict someone's sleep, not only does it affect your productivity, your cognitive function, and even your metabolism gets affected negatively. So there's so many negative things that come with poor sleep. But I think the question really becomes like, well, what do we do to sleep better at night? Like, what are some things that we can do? And everybody's going to be a little bit different. So each situation is going to have its own sort of, things that we might try or test. But I think number one is make it your intention to want to you need to sleep better, right? If you're struggling with it. And that means something like don't go to bed with your phone, right? Like if you're sitting and scrolling TikTok for an hour before you go to bed,
Wow.
that's just a lack of intention to have good sleep, right? So make it your intention that, look, I'm going to start chasing better sleep habits. And there's two things that we generally look at in Athletic After 40 when it comes to sleep. Number one is the duration of your sleep. So how long you're actually shut eye sleeping. And number two is the quality of your sleep.
Okay.
So, and we can kind of dig into quality of sleep as in like the different phases of sleep, right? So the very first thing, like if you struggle with quantity, well, many, you should be getting somewhere between, depends on the person, 7 to 9 hours, somewhere in there.
Okay.
If you're struggling with that, number one, your intention.
Yeah.
Make it your intention to start sleeping better at night. Put the phone down, right? And then you can kind of get into the weeds with some of this other stuff. But like temperature, if the room is cooler, you sleep better.
Interesting.
Because the human body, the circadian rhythm, and I'm going to get all nerdy here, but your body temperature needs to go down for you to fall into the right phases of sleep. Okay. So that's a good one. And that's an easy one to fix. Just turn your thermostat down just a little bit, maybe take a blanket off, whatever that might be.
Interesting.
And that's where some of those mattresses and things are interesting because they cool you off before bed and then they kind of heat you up before you wake up. So there's some cool technology out there that does some of that. Yeah. So that would be number one. Another way to kind of accelerate that is to maybe take a hot shower before you go to bed. And now you might think like, well, why would I take a hot shower if I need my body to cool off, right?
Okay.
But here's what happens. When you heat the body up, the cooling mechanism turns on,
Oh.
right? So as soon as you get out of that hot shower, that hot bath or the sauna, then all of a sudden your body's, the cooling mechanism kicks in and you start to get sleepy if it's dark outside.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So that's another thing. Another one would be, I think, one of the biggest problems, at least for most of my guys, is just the brain turning, right? Did you ever lay there
Yeah.
and you're like, I just can't stop thinking about this thing, something's on your mind.
It's guilty.
Yeah. I think we've all been there before. So you need to come up with some different strategies to sort of relax your brain.
Okay.
Easier said than done. And it does take some practice. But here's something that I recommend to people. So when you're laying there, if you feel your brain going to that thing, that problem that you're trying to solve, number one, give yourself permission to wait until the next day. Like, okay, cool. I know that I'm trying to figure this out. I know this is a problem. We'll figure this out tomorrow. Right now, it's time to rest. It's time to sleep. So number one, give yourself, it sounds a little corny.
Right.
You have to practice this, but give yourself permission just to put it off until tomorrow. And then the next thing you need to do is go somewhere. Some people say like, go to your happy place. Right. For me, believe it or not, it's a white sheet of paper. And that's all I think about, like a white sheet of paper. So bring your brain to the white sheet of paper or pick something else, whatever it is you like. Could be a beach, could be stars, could be whatever that is. For me, it's a white sheet of paper. And if I feel my brain go off somewhere else, I go back to the white sheet of paper. And the more you practice that, next thing you know, you're out. You're sleeping.
So the equivalent of the white sheet of paper does the white sheet of paper calm you? Does it, relax you or have you just space out? Like, what's the purpose of imagining the white sheet of paper.
Yeah. If it's something that's static, you can shift your brain into more of an off mode as opposed to an on mode,
Okay.
right? So if you could just go to something that's just it's just a picture. That's it. Like
Right.
it's not a movie, it's not a big show. Like we're trying to get your brain to shift into a different gear, into a different phase, right?
Right.
So that it prepares your body for sleep.
Okay.
Yeah. So you don't want that brain running. But I think that's probably one of the, for me at least, in the people that I work with, that's one of the biggest problems.
Gotcha. So if they can just imagine. So when they're looking at the beach or imagining the beach, is it a still beach? Are the waves coming in and off the shore, or?
That's a good question. You could play with that, of course.
Yeah.
But I think just distracting you from the problem, right?
Right. Okay.
And as you know, one of the things that sometimes happens is our brain doesn't technically shut off at night when we're sleeping.
Yeah, no.
Right? Like it's still running and you can solve problems
Yep.
while you're sleeping.
That's true. I agree.
Yeah. So like it's in your best interest to give yourself permission to go to sleep and to not stop consciously thinking about this thing
Right.
and let your brain do the work.
Right.
Right? Go to sleep. You know? That's why I said like intention, I think is probably the biggest thing because not enough of us, I believe, have the intention to just want to sleep better. I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I got to watch a few more TikToks or whatever.
Oh, guilty.
And I've been guilty. Like I can't say that I'm perfect. I'm not, but like that's easy to let that stuff creep in.
Okay.
That's a conscious decision to not want to sleep better, right?